Oklahoma's in a really good position to continue to add to this class and build their ranks through high school recruiting ranking. But who's next? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners have received several commitments over the last few days. Obviously, we got Beau Bentley on Friday, Trace Rudd on Sunday, the Coles kicking 5-star kicker, and then on Monday, adding Beau, Jandreau, and Daniel Norman. But, Jay, who's next?
See, that's the tough part. So you've got Dallas Dickerson, who's doing his commitment tomorrow. There was one today that we thought the Sooners had a chance of winning, was the other Danny Odom, to go with the Daniel Odom we have. But it looks like that Danny Odom decided that Nebraska is the place for him, unfortunately. But it's okay. We may be able to, work some ways and pull in another corner, which I think actually expect us to get another big corner. It could be an okay prep. Like I saw an article come out from Parker Thune, and then was talking about Braden Presley, one player that me and you had talked about for a bit. And I think his commitment date is July 2nd. And so since his is July 2nd, which will be next week, we still got to figure out this week. So Dallas Dickerson is tomorrow, but there was a prediction, a future cast from Rivals that came out today that had your boys' interest in peak. Davian Groce, the all-purpose player down there at Frisco Lone Star High School, 6'2", 190. Kid is expected to play a combination of running back and wide receiver, kind of like a Deebo Samuel, Percy Harvin type setup. Yeah, Sam Spiegelman over there dropped a crystal ball prediction on him, or a future cast, and he believes that the Sooners are most likely going to win his services. So if there's one that could be next, I think there's a good chance he may be that dude.
Yeah, it's been a consistent momentum for Oklahoma. They've consistently been the team projected to land Groce. And that's one of those guys. There are a few guys in every recruiting cycle. I'm like, I really want that guy. Here's hoping that he commits to Oklahoma, because he's just one of those guys that you can just get the ball to him and watch him work. Just let him go make plays. You can draw things up in the wide receiver screen game, in the jet sweep game. I know that that's dirty language here among Sooner Nation, but when you're running it to the right guys, it's an effective play.
Very fair.
Don't run it to your 5'8" slot wide receiver that's not known for his speed. Okay.
Or have him as your lead blocker.
Right. Or don't run it to your tight end. Don't do that kind of thing. He's a guy that you can get the ball to in so many different kinds of ways, and he can make plays for you. You can line him up in the backfield. He's got experience as a running back. And whether you hand it to him or you throw it to him out of the backfield, he's going to create yards after the catch, after contact.
He is.
Yeah, he's just that kind of a player, that dynamic of a player.
Exactly. He's one that once he gets the ball in his hands, it's going to be really hard to stop him. He's going to be a playmaker. I mean, especially at his height and size. Look, we've compared guys to this player, and this player was that elite as a true freshman. We may not see another one like him for a bit, or we may see one like him this year. But CeeDee Lamb is one that is really the bar set to me of a player. I like somebody to be about halfway as good as he was, and I'm going to be over the moon because CeeDee was that dude as a true freshman. And so at his height and the athleticism we watch on his film, he has a chance of being a guy that's just as dynamic. And like you mentioned, he'll be one that will play not only at the wide receiver spot, he can come out of the backfield at running back. So he can play in the Deebo Samuel type setup. He can do the jet sweeps and actually execute them properly. I don't have any complaints about it if it's run right, and it's run with the right people, John. So for Oklahoma, to me, that will be a big one. We need to close in on that. The Craig Dandridge one is a huge one. I don't expect that one to close anytime soon, him or Jake Krell, mainly because they're just too high profile. I'm expecting those to kind of take some time. I would love Craig Dandridge to be closed earlier, though, because then that means that Oklahoma can focus on the other wide receivers, a Jordan Clay, a Jayden Pettit. We know that the wide receiver recruiting is going to be critical this year because there's a good chance you're going to lose about 5 guys, right? There's a lot of graduations happening this year, and you want to make sure that you replace a lot of those players. So that was big. Deacon Schmidt's on the 28th. So if we don't land the Dallas Dickerson one tomorrow, which I'm seeing a combination of a prediction for Oklahoma and a prediction for Kentucky, it sounds like he's trying to figure out which one he wants. Which place he wants to go. Because, I mean, truth be told, he goes to Kentucky, he's going to probably play early. Yeah. Coming to Oklahoma, there's a chance he won't play as early because we've got a pretty nice log of players currently as well as even recruits. So it makes sense. It would suck, but at the same time, it makes sense when you really look at the opportunity to get on the field early.
Yeah, and I think people sleep on Kentucky as one of those teams that, hey, they've created and developed good wide receiver play over the last decade. You can find good wide receivers coming out of Kentucky over time. If you don't land Dallas Dickerson, I think it would be great to land him because you want the size and the speed that he brings to the table. If you don't land him, it would be a bummer because I want size and I want speed, and you can't teach what he does with his size and his speed. At the same time, you are pretty well stacked at wide receiver among your younger players. You just need those guys to start developing and breaking out, whether it's Zion Kearney or Ivan Carrion or Elijah Thomas or Manny Choice. You've got a good group of young wide receivers. That's 4 guys that you're developing and you're waiting to break out. That if you don't have a big wide receiver class this year, I don't think it's the end of the world. If you're taking another 2 or 3 again this year, and one of those is Groce, and maybe another one is, your guy, Jayden Pettit, then I'm cool with that. If you can get those 2 guys and then add another one somewhere, I think you still have a really, really nice wide receiver depth chart.
Yeah, that's a very solid one. And it's got all the size that you're looking for. The one thing that we've heard fans say, we've seen you all in the comments make these statements, that you want dudes that are taller. You want bigger wide receivers. This staff does as well because they understand what's needed in order to be successful in the SEC. So Nagy is pushing for, bigger, stronger, more athletic wide receivers. Now, you may not see Oklahoma land the super 5-star guys that a lot of you want to get your hands on. Those guys are they worth the cost? That's always the question. Not sure. All I know is in order for Oklahoma to be successful, they're going to have some larger size guys on the outsides. And at that point, we're starting to achieve that. So now from there, you still got to also look at your interiors. I know that, Devin Robinson is one that Oklahoma has been trending very well with on the interior on the offensive line, especially after the Will Conroy flip to North Carolina. That one still is up in the air. That's one could come down the line over the next few days, if that's one that's going to come down in the next few days. DeAndre Lafayette's another one, another edge that Oklahoma's been looking at to go along with Norman and Jake Krell. So if there was one, I would say it would be next. These 2 popping off so quickly on a Monday throws things off. I don't think Groce is going to commit this week. I expect him to commit around the 4th. So it may actually end up being Deacon Schmidt on the 28th.
I'm going to go with the surprise, and I'm going to go with Robeson. That's one that's he seems to like where he's at, and he likes his positioning with Oklahoma. I don't know if he's got another official visit to do. I'm going to go look that up real quick. But
no.
So yeah, if he's done with his OVs, he has not set a commitment date as far as I know.
Nope, he hasn't.
So that's one of those that could come down on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week before we get to Deacon Schmidt later in the week. On I guess Saturday is when Deacon Schmidt would be committing. So yeah, I feel good about where Oklahoma's at in a lot of these recruitments and what's not to like. As I mentioned in the first segment, they're going after dudes that are good football players, have good motors, and can project to the next level. This isn't just about college. It's about finding guys that they feel like can develop into guys that can play at the NFL level. And so,
yeah,
Yeah, lot to like. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a wide receiver commitment, because that'd be a lot of fun too, because I love wide receiver play. It's something
That's my favorite film to
beautiful
watch.
about it.
It's my favorite. That and running back film are my favorite film to watch, is because the minute they hit the hole and they're gone, you're just like, oh.
Yeah. It's like watching ballet. It's poetry in motion.
Poetry in motion.
All right. Paul Finebaum of SEC Network and the Paul Finebaum Show. He came out with his projection for Oklahoma's win total. I don't know about that, Paul.